Today is the first day of the buzzword readathon, and I thought that I would do it and vlog it. However, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I haven't done anything with it. Obviously, I'm just updating now. I haven't started reading. I haven't even planned what I'm gonna read for real. Like, what am I doing? If you don't know this readathon, it was created by Books and Lala. Instead of like other readathons where you have a ton of different things that you have to do, the only requirement is that you read a book with the buzzword on the cover. And this round is Night, which I thought was really good, seeing as it's the sort of the end of September and we're getting into spooky season. And so I figured it would be fun to do because I'm already here, like I'm already in spooky season. That's all I've been doing is watching horror, and that's basically been my life. I am going to try to rectify what's going on with this failed readathon already and share with you some of the books that I am looking into reading. I just literally grabbed every book that I have with Night in the title. I'll also be doing what I normally do with these things and having like a watch portion of this challenge, but we'll talk about that in a little bit after I go through the books that I have. So I have Craig Davidson's The Saturday Night Ghost Club, which I've actually been really interested in for a while. So this might actually be one of the ones that I want to pick up the most out of this. It says some towns are more haunted than others. I feel like it's going to be a book that I'm going to really like and perfect for the season. And then the next one I have is Jodi Lynn Anderson's Midnight at the Electric. Is this a YA? I actually don't know. I bought this book a very long time ago and it's just been sitting on my shelf. Divided by Time, Ignited by a Spark. Maybe it's sci-fi, who knows? I'll share with you the one that I'm actually like kind of the most excited for and most interested in. It's Anne Davila Cardinal's 5 Midnights. I butchered their name and I'm very sorry about that. I didn't actually look beforehand and that was my bad. Puerto Rican lore. So the words are hard. The monsters in this book are from that, and I thought that would like be kind of a cool premise. Next I have Night Sweats and Shadows. This is by Robert Allen White. I've actually read this one before, so it will probably go to the end of my list, but I wanted to include it into this readathon. Sorry, camera work. Because I know Robert Allen White. He was my professor, theater professor in college. He is one of my favorite like teachers of all time. So I wanted to plug his little book, another collection of just kind of ghost horror stories. And then the last one was like, again, probably a book outlet haul from months ago, months, probably years, I'm actually being honest with you. It's We Are Where the Nightmares Go and Other Stories by C. Robert Cargill. Back to what I was saying before, I am going to be doing a watch part of this. I just haven't figured out what I'm going to be watching. I do have 3 series that I could try that have the word night in their title. So the first one is The Night Watchman's Journal. This would be a really good pick because of something else that's tied to the drama that I'm purposely being kind of vague on. It's not really a secret, but it's kind of a secret. It's tied to a podcast episode that we'll be doing later on. So like in terms of like combining a drama that works really well for this readathon and really well for like homework type stuff that I'd be doing for the podcast, it's like a great pick. But I don't know if I want to invest my time in that. The next one is The Scholar Who Walks the Night, which again is another really long saga. This one does have vampires in it, so it works kind of. And then the third I have is Gong Ho Starry Night. Is that what it's called? Something like that. It is a shorter drama. It's like 20 episodes long, but each of the episodes are 20 minutes long, so it's the shortest out of every one of my options. It's just not something that I might want to be watching now. It's just in a genre that I don't like prefer. It doesn't mean that I won't pick it up and love it. It just means that it's like never in the first option. Another option I have is to just kind of go rogue and just watch a movie or two, just figure out between all of the streaming services that I have access to a movie that has night in the title. What I should do right now is I should go and watch like the first episode of all 3 of those dramas and then see which one grabs me. Here's to day 1. We're hoping this is going to be a successful readathon. I have no clue what's going on in this drama. I thought it was about ghosts, but there was a dragon fight? Like, what's the plot? Yeah, we're just gonna go with this angle. It's very messy behind me. Welcome to my sewing room. Also, this is like technically where I like sit to podcast, just because my desk is like not usable right now for podcasting. That's not what you need to know. I just got a package in and I thought I'd share it with you. So if you're not into this, maybe I'll put a time code, because it's a package from With Drama. I know not everyone watching is gonna care, and you're gonna be like, Jessie, what did you spend your money on? And I'm gonna tell you, I spent my money on very adorable things. So if you didn't know and you hadn't been aware and you haven't figured out, one of my favorite groups is Day 6, and they came out with a subunit called Even of Day, and then they came out with merch for that subunit, and I bought some of the stuff because hello, state of the world, and now you get to see what I picked. So first we have this, which, if you know anything about JYP in general, because they've been doing this with at least 2 p.m. for a while, and I don't know on the others. I don't follow any of the other fandoms of JYP. Day 6 has a line of stuffed animals. They're called the Denimals, and they play a part in this go-around album. It's really hard to explain. It sounds weird, but it's more theatrical than it is anything else. So I got Young K's little fox, and then why is Jay like this? I don't know why that was a thing. Okay. Oh, you can't see him, but I got Jay here. We can't let Jay be faced the wrong way. You have to see his adorable face. But here you go. There's Jay. So in this round, Jay was not part of the group, but Young K was. And then the other 2, Don and Wampil, their animals sold out immediately. Like, I bought within like 3 minutes of the site going live with this stuff. I bought this stuff, and like a lot of stuff was already sold out, so that's crazy. However, I did get the little outfits for it. Oh my god. I'm sure like there are people who think I'm like the weirdest person alive, but like, oh my gosh, they're little space outfits. So this is Young K's, and this is Doan's. Look at the little like patches and pins on it. Oh my god. And Juan Pills, which is the most adorable. So these go on these. I just, listen, I had to, okay? I had to. And then I got one other thing. Well, actually 2 other things. Like the main thing is that I wanted this. It came with a book, and I really wanted that. This is the book. It's a little like photo book / illustrated book. Like they have the little Denimals in with the pictures, and I thought that was a really cute concept, especially because if you don't know, Day 6's albums for the past couple of albums have been book related, so they're like there's a theme going on, so I just thought this was a really great theme, and it looked interesting, and I'm not gonna do a review on it. It doesn't say night in the title, so I can't read it, but I just thought it would be really cute, so there's that. This is a package of cards, because I do collect their photo cards. If you collect them as well, let me know. I'm always trying to find a good place to trade and sell from, but they're like behind the scenes cards. I'll like link the music video below so you can see. If you're a non-K-pop person, you can see what it is. They're very good. It's a really I like show you this stuff and you're like, what the fuck is this? What is this? And I know it looks weird, but like they're very good. Like they're a good group. They're a band and they do all their own music and stuff. There was a promo going on that if you bought a certain amount, you would get photo cards, which is kind of why I got what I got. Like now, like I got all of these, even though I don't have all of the stuffed animals to go with them. A, because they'll probably sell out and never be able to be found again later, and B, because a certain amount got photo cards, which if you collect photo cards, you know, now this is your life. It was a certain amount, and I thought I was only gonna get 3, but they gave me 4, which is very interesting because I do have another package coming from With Drama. They did a second round, and I was able to get the second round of production of the animals, and I'm pretty sure that had stuff, and so I'm getting more of these. I also didn't realize that they would be sets with the full members, because each one of these sets of photo cards have Sungjin first, and he's one of the members that wasn't part of this comeback. I mean, I am more than okay with it being all of the members. I was just like not expecting it. So it's just like all the members and then like a group shot. The photo book might come with cards as well. It's like a hefty book. Oh yeah, it also comes with the DVD. I'm so glad I did it. It does come with cards. Oh my gosh, and photo stickers. How cool. Can you see? I'm not gonna like open it. So it came with 2 things of stickers. They like to give stickers in their albums, I've noticed. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Just save them, I guess. And then it came with some photo cards of the 3 of them, and then their little group photo. I haven't read today yet, but I just woke up and I should go eat or get some coffee or do something. I might start reading that 5 Midnights book. I did do that. Okay, let's talk. Let's chat for 2 seconds because I haven't updated you, and it will be a very, very weird angle. Last night I went through the 3 options I had for the dramas, which were, let's see if I can do this off the top of my head. No, I can't. The one about ghosts, the one about vampires, and then Goho's Starry Night, or whatever it is. I did not like the first 2, and I'm the type of person who knows pretty much off the bat if I'm going to like it, not going to like it, I'm not going to like it. And then the other one was okay. It's just like, I don't know if I'm like feeling that right now. Like, so I don't know. It's like not a drop, but it's not a want to continue right now. So I don't know what I'm going to do. That's what's going on. So I did do something last night, not just, you know, really fail at this challenge. Welcome to day 3, potentially. It is very late. It's 7 o'clock at night. I kind of didn't wake up till 5. Poor decisions have been made over the past like month where I'm like basically up. What is my hair doing? I'm basically up um, during the night to watch like music shows and stuff when they air in Korea. And then I sleep all day, which is what happened. So, I mean, I woke up at 5, but I went to bed like at 10 a.m. or something. I have been reading, or not today, but I did yesterday. I started the Saturday Night Ghost Club. I am very close to the finish. It's a shorter book, so I read 172 pages yesterday while I was waiting for one of the music shows to happen. Um, and I had every intention of finishing it when I woke up today, and I had every intention of like actually getting up a little bit earlier than I did, but that's not the case. That didn't happen. I think what I'm going to do, I have about an hour before we have to record our podcast, and I've kind of done everything that I need to do for that recording. So I'm hoping that in this hour I can potentially finish this book. I will check back in with you later on my thoughts and feelings. I just finished the Saturday Night Ghost Club. We actually ended up not recording tonight, so it's a little after 8, so I was able to finish it, which is kind of nice. This was really good. It kind of has like a Now and Then vibe. If you've ever watched that movie, it very much has that kind of almost plot in terms of, you know, a summer where a young boy is kind of learning things and like learning about growing up and kind of dealing with that and dealing with other things. But it goes into more about like mental illness and PTSD. Some of the things that happened in the end, I could tell were gonna happen. I do think that the way that they were presented was really good, and how it tied into everything that was going on. The book is set where it's the narrator when he's older, like in his 30s, and he's a brain surgeon, and he's kind of like recounting the story of his 12-year-old self this one summer. And so it's got this really nice thing that they don't like overdo on. He's sharing what he felt in terms of the events that were happening as a 12-year-old boy, and then sharing how they are now as a 30-year-old who is looking back on this event. Is not what I expected in the book, but that's okay, because most books are not what I expect, because I like to do that thing where I never like actually read into it, so I don't know what it's like about. So like things that aren't spoilers tend to be spoilers for me. I don't know if I'm gonna read some more. Today's just been a really weird day. It's weird always, but it's weird when like now like my schedule has changed where I sleep during the day. But it was also just like things. It's not a good day. But yeah, maybe I'll watch some horror movies. Oh, when feeling crappy, horror movies it is.
Good morning. It's day 4 of the readathon, and you don't get to see my face right now, but I figured I would check in really quickly. Last night, I read a couple stories from We Are Where the Nightmares Go and other stories. I think I'm on like 3 stories in, which isn't that like far. It's like maybe 75 pages in, but I am trying to space out the stories a little bit, so like I read a couple here and there every day, so it's not just like me reading to read the book. So that's one thing. Lizzie's here. Hi. I started Midnight at the Electric, which is this pretty blue cover. Do I have the actual cover? I do. I had a bunch of stuff on it. What's this one? Midnight at the Electric. And again, just like the Saturday Night book club, I had no really clue on what it was about. So it's kind of fun reading books when you have like no clue what it's about, because everything's a surprise. So every little detail of this book is a surprise to me. I'm like over halfway done with the book. It's a small book too. So I'll have that done today. That's like my goal. My goal is to finish The Midnight at the Electric. I want to start the what is it called? The Five Nightmares, I think it is. I want to start that tonight, and then I want to read I think 2 stories from We Are Where the Nightmares Go. That's my plan for today.
Look, it's a different background. I'm trying to switch it up because it's been boring being just in my room where I've been reading most of my stuff. It is day 5 of the readathon. Things have been going well. I just haven't read anything today. Okay, so let's recap yesterday. So I finished Midnight at the Electric. Did I tell you that? I finished it. I thought it was really good. I really liked it a lot. I think I'm gonna give it like 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.5. It was different than I kind of thought the story was gonna go to. This is not a spoiler because it says it in all the stuff. I just didn't know it, but it could deter you from enjoying the book. It's set in the future, and she is preparing to go to space, but that's just like the backdrop of the entire story. It actually doesn't really focus on that. So if you're going into this thinking it's like a space type book, that might not be your thing. It's not sci-fi by any means. So just go into the book knowing that. It was kind of slow. Well, as slow as like a 270-page book can be. But I'm into slow, like quiet kind of slice of life. Don't need a lot of stuff going on. I don't need a lot of action and stuff. She says that she heavily enjoys crime and horror. I'm going to talk a little bit, briefly about a spoiler. It's not a big spoiler. Maybe I'll like keep up a book cover just so you know visually when I'm talking about it so you don't get spoiled. It's not like the end of the world, but like I don't want it to be a spoiler for somebody. So turn off now. I just wanted to briefly talk about like one of my favorite things about this book. I really enjoyed that the space part was just the backdrop of the entire story, and they didn't focus on it, and it wasn't a thing. It was just like something else in her life. And then also that the whole being in the future, it still was like advanced technology, but it still felt very grounded. It didn't feel extraordinary. In the beginning, when she is going to her first like orientation for the program, and you know, she's been talking about how she doesn't really like people and she doesn't like getting to know people and stuff, and then she has that encounter during that orientation. I was worried because they kind of set it up like that person, the girl that kind of like was taken aback by what she said and kind of left. It seemed like they were setting it up to be a point in the story, like a conflict in the story. And to my surprise, it wasn't. And I really, really, really appreciate that. I don't like that trope, and I don't like how much it's used. And I was just so like thankful that the story didn't do anything with it. And I was really thankful that like instead the story did this really great thing where it actually kind of showed how the people around her was helping her get through some of her like standoffishness, because also like you can tell that like the standoffishness is based on her experiences and like losing her parents and stuff. And I really, really appreciated how they handled that, because it could have gone that like people would start hating her because she didn't talk to everyone, and they're gonna have to live together, and like eventually like someone in that group is probably going to marry her and that sort of thing. And it could have gone just one way, and it didn't. And I thought that the scene in the hotel when they were in New York for all the interviews was just a really beautiful scene. Like it was just so nice. It was just such a beautiful moment, but they didn't like, it wasn't overdone. Everybody was accepting of who she was as a human being. and they didn't see less of her because of this. And they also like went out of their way to figure out how to meet her, um, in a way to get her to engage with them and also feel included and know that she can feel included in whatever like space she was in. And it was just one of the best scenes in the entire book, and it's like a little small percentage of this book. So, end of spoilers. I highly recommend this book. So then I read 3 more stories of We Are Where the Nightmares Go. It's okay. It's kind of, it's a little boring. Not boring enough that I've like dropped it or anything, but it's not great. It's kind of just there almost. I'm not like a person to go to for what level of horror anything is, because I don't get scared by horror. I'm weird, I know. I can't give you a level of horror on this book. Right now, I have 5 Midnights. I actually started it last night, but I'm probably like 12 pages in on anything. Yeah, 19 pages in. I think I'm going to try to read more of it now. I'd like to get halfway through it, which is, it's less than 300 pages, so there's no reason I can't get halfway through it before I go to sleep tonight. It seemed interesting at the very beginning. It starts off kind of with someone dying. It's like kind of one of those books that just like starts off and sets you up for it. Hi, I look like I just got up, which is very true. It is the last day of the readathon. You're like, Jessie, how is it the last day? And you're posting right now because you didn't post anything on the 6th day. And you're right, I didn't. You're not missing much. This vlog is very boring and it's very bright, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. I actually don't have anything to do today for the last day of the readathon. I've kind of finished all the books that I wanted to. I didn't want to start the last option that I have. I only have one more option, and it's my one that would be a reread. So here I am, kind of calling it quits, just to like wrap up what happened yesterday. I was watching a music stage, and then I had like a period of time in between the music stage and a band I really like doing like an online showcase. And I live a weird life. The band that I was watching is Korean, so like their showcase was like at a normal time for Koreans, but for me it was like 7 a.m. And so I decided that I was gonna power through 5 Midnights and complete that. I don't have the actual book with me, but here's the cover. I did it. I basically read the last like 220 pages in one sitting. It was okay. I kind of was disappointed by it, largely because the first kill in the book, reacting and talking about horror is very weird because you're like excited about things you shouldn't be excited about. But the first kill in the book was probably the best in the kills, like best horror wise, and everything else was just really boring and not fun. I've read YA horror that's like even more intense, so I know it wasn't just because it was a YA. I think I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 purely because it didn't deter me from sitting there and reading 220 pages of it fully straight. Like I still did it, and it didn't really slow down my reading. There's a character, she's like one of the minor characters in the book, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Is it Marisol? But she was super interesting and literally just used as a pawn to do things to progress the story, and just was like a throwaway character when like really she was the cool character of it. And I saw a lot of people like in the comments on Goodreads talking about that too, so I feel very like solidarity. We all really like this one character who just didn't have a chance in the book because the writer didn't care about her. It was light horror, but like it wasn't scary or anything. But if you need to judge things, literally the first death, which is like the first 2 pages of the book, that's your tell. I'm sorry, my hair's like wacky. That's your tell. If you can, that's like the top of what it does in the story. So if you can handle that, that's fine. There's a lot of drug use and drug talk in here too, so if that's a thing that would trigger you, definitely stay away from that. Oh well, we finished it. Then I dropped my book. Then I finished We Are Where the Nightmares Go and Other Stories, which you can't even tell. Like, just, and this book is like red. So, oh, my arm's getting tired. Should have used my tripod. This is kind of a weird angle. Do I care enough to go get my tripod? Not really. So we're just gonna deal with this. I'm sorry. We Are Where the Nightmares Go. I largely found it boring. It was a collection of stories, and then the last book, or the last story, was like a continuation of another book that he already has, which is like, okay, it's your like book of stories, like you can do whatever you want, but I just feel that's like the slightest cop out. There was another story where he talks about it had already been published, but it kind of seemed like it was like a defunct published thing, and so you couldn't access it anywhere, and so like that I get, but like, couldn't you have just like written another new story for this book? Like, the book is only like 260 pages anyways. I would definitely like pick up 5 midnights over this, but I do know people like this book, and I'm not saying that like you can't not like it. I understand why people would like it. Like, there was a couple stories that I was like super into, but for the most part they were boring. I think I gave it like a 2.5 to kind of be like a solid, just middle of the road. It helped that it was different stories, because that meant I read it all throughout the week instead of one chunk. I probably would have DNF'd it if it was one chunk, honestly. Those were all the books that I've wrapped up, so that was 4 books. And so then I was like, hey, what am I gonna do? Because this is like the second to the last day of the challenge and I still don't have things. I remembered that I had said that I was gonna watch some shows, and I never updated that. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll just like flip through and see if there's a movie I can watch. And so that's when I remembered that there was this little short like web drama on Netflix called Nightmare High that I hadn't finished. I had started, I think it was on episode 3 or 4, and I was like, oh, I could watch that. And so I did. So I've completed the watch section of this challenge as well. It was good. Nightmare High is like for teenagers. It's a YA drama. It's essentially like about this teacher who's doing all these like things to get the students to be captured. It's like a ghost paranormal type thing where he like makes these kids sign these contracts, and then they do these things, and then like they get trapped in the mirror. And it's about like one of the students or 2 of the students who are like figuring it out. It's for younger audiences, not me, and it was fine. It was perfectly fine. What I think is gonna happen, I have to edit the podcast today, but I can do that later, and it shouldn't take me that long to edit the podcast this go around. I might just like try to find more movies with night in the title for today and just kind of use today as that. So it is officially the end of the buzzwordathon. If you have sat through and watched my entire vlog, thank you so much. You're a trooper. We should be best friends if we aren't already. So let's go over the books that I ended up finishing, which is this stack right here. So the first book that I finished was The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. I gave this a 4 out of 5. If you're looking for like a coming of age book that's not really horror or paranormal, but it has themes of that, if that makes sense. this is definitely a book to check out. And then we have Midnight at the Electric by Jodi Lynn Anderson. I gave this like a 4.5 out of 5. Really great, really quiet, had some really great elements to it. Set in the future, but not really sci-fi. So YA contemporary. Then we have Five Midnights by Anne de Villa Cardinal. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't really like it that much, but it was okay. It's a YA horror, but it's horror. I don't think there's a lot of horror in it. There are definitely other YA horror books that go more, and I wish they had gone more even in with the monster and did stuff. I do respect the use of this monster specifically, so that's cool. And then finally we have the collection of stories We Are Where the Nightmares Go by C. Robert Cargill. I didn't really like it. If you're into his work, he wrote Sinister, the movie, and also co-wrote or just wrote the screenplay for Doctor Strange. So he's a well-known writer, and I'm sure like this just wasn't a book for me. I never actually like shared my favorite stories, which I probably should, just so you can know if you've read this before. And be like, yes, I really like We Are Where the Nightmares Go. It's like a Alice in Wonderland, really weird, kind of almost retelling but not retelling. Like it's definitely got hints of Alice in Wonderland, but like a little bit more. And then I liked Hell Creek, which is about zombie dinosaurs, which it was just an interesting little like take on a story. And then also I paired this with watching, and I got through episodes 4 through 12 of Nightmare High, which is like a teenage horror web drama. It's on Netflix. I think it's also on like Viki as well. And then I also watched, what was the movie that I watched? One Dark Night. Yes, that's the movie that I ended the day with. It's like an 80s, early 80s kind of slasher movie. It was okay. Not a lot of stuff happens in it, but I don't know. I enjoyed it a bit. I'm very excited that I got through 4 books, which is great. I think this is the first time I've gotten through 4 books on a readathon. Although I have watched longer dramas with a readathon. So, and then also while I have you, October is happening. And while I'm not doing Vlogtober, I'm kind of doing something else that's going to produce a lot of content. And it starts the 1st of October. I will be doing mostly blog posts, but some videos almost every day in October. So if you are interested in Asian horror specifically, things, make sure you go to my blog post or blog. It will be linked below, and then also make sure you're subscribed to this channel because there will be videos out. If you're here just for reading, I'm sorry there won't be a lot of reading. However, I am participating in the Fortnite Frights readathon, which is towards the end of the month, so we'll be doing vlogs and stuff that are centered around that and those books and that sort of thing. I hope you will stay around to watch some of the stuff. I've been like planning it for a while, and even if nobody watches, it's going to be fun for me, but I would like someone to like watch it. Thank you again for watching this vlog. I'm sorry it's always a mess, and I will talk to you very, very soon.